As designers, working with cool clients and collaborating with others is a fulfilling experience. However, I think the most rewarding projects come out of our own passion and imagination. At the end of the day, we all have to work with clients to put food on the table or gas in the car. But what I think separates you from other designers and keeps that creative spark going is working on personal passion projects. And in this video, I'm going to dive into that more. When I first got into design, it felt like more of an artistic expression to me and less of a corporate job that I needed to slave away at just to pay the bills. Somewhere along the way though, that got tampered with, but I've been trying to get that feeling back each year. My first experience with design was screen printing t-shirts and messing around with Photoshop in a high school visual communication class. I'm forever grateful for that class, and shout out to Mr. Murray because it allowed me to find a passion earlier than a lot of my peers. Design was new, exciting, and something I could see myself doing for a long time. Even when the teacher was forcing us to trace the Batman logo in Adobe Illustrator, I loved it. And when the class was talking to each other while the teacher played us an Aaron Draplin video, I was glued to the projector. Every day, I was excited to go to that class and learn more and more about design. That class even sparked my first ever passion project, Depravity. Passion projects are important, and this is where that spark started. Depravity was a clothing brand that I started in high school. I put so much into that endeavor, and it really helped me unlock both the creative and entrepreneurial side of myself. I was hustling, delivering products all across town, promoting on the early days of social media, and just overall trying to run a cool little streetwear business. Long story short, I sold a bunch of t-shirts, got in trouble for slapping stickers all over the school, and had a blast along the way. Eventually, I went to college, I stopped that business and focused on school and learning the so-called real fundamentals of design. The school was cool and all, but some of the teachings were so rigid that I started to feel like the passion was being sucked out of it. Being forced into the idea that design and art are completely separate and the trade of graphic design is only needed to service clients' visions and never our own wasn't my favorite. While what I learned in school was very valuable and a lot of it was true to an extent, I tried my best to not get lost along the way. I think the danger of organized schooling and old out-of-touch design professors is that it can do the opposite of its intended effect. Instead of inspiring a future of creative, experimental, and curious designers, it can breed a bunch of clones who preach this same stale rhetoric around the internet. I think the way I discovered design on my own gave me a better perspective and fighting chance from falling into the same stuff most of the designers in my class had to deal with. The point of all this is I think as designers, we need to value our personal passion projects to keep our curious side alive. We need to be able to create for the sake of creating, even when no one is telling us to do so. I feel like we should want to get up and create every day, not because it can pay well or a client told us to do so, but because we can't imagine doing anything else. Ever since the later days of my college career, I have been actively pursuing personal projects and fun creative endeavors on the side to get that same feeling of screen printing my first shirt in high school or selling the first sticker pack of my shitty old streetwear brand. In my current practice, these passion projects are what keep me going in between YouTube, client work, and whatever other obligations I set out for myself. This is why I love the internet design space so much. I see so much creativity, acceptance, exploration, and overall passion in a lot of the young designers coming up online. I think we must continue inspiring each other and encouraging people to take risks with passion projects and realizing at the end of the day, not everything is about the client. If you only give yourself permission to create when others are dictating it to you, then I don't think you'll grow to your fullest potential. And as a bonus, working on personal passion projects can inspire your future clients to hire you for some of the most fun and rewarding client projects. Clients have been inspired far more from my personal design explorations than any other logo I did for a random business. Let yourself be the client for once and come up with a fun brief for you to do or a side project to work on. If you're already doing that, then awesome. And if you want to get started, a simple thing you can try out is just making a poster design and posting it online. So here's the poster I was working on. I was actually really happy with how it turned out, and it was kind of a happy little accident when I printed and some of the type in the top left and the bottom right got this weird kind of dash effect. In the past, I may have just, restarted and tried to print again, but I actually think it kind of makes it look cooler, so I'm going to keep it that way. At the end of the day, one of these posters isn't something like super significant, but as an entire series, the Blues Legends posters are something that I've been having a lot of fun making, and I'm really proud of as like a collection. At the time of recording this is probably like the 18th one that I've made now, and I think I'm gonna go on to make about 30 of them, just as long as I don't run out of different artists and stuff that I want to make posters about. There's something nice about having a thread that kind of cohesively connects all the posters together, rather than just all these one-off posters that are separate and kind of live and die on social media. This is probably my most rewarding and exciting passion project I've worked on so far, and something that I'm going to be really proud to put into my portfolio. But I have also worked on some other cool personal projects in the past. If you've been around the channel for a while, you'll probably remember is the Black Note series and the Skatin' Not Stirred collage series. The Black Note project was a collection of some of my favorite punk and early hardcore records that I designed in the style of the Blue Note jazz covers. The Reed Miles Blue Note jazz covers were some of my favorite album arts of all time, and they're definitely something you should check out. So I wanted to take that style and see if I could translate it into some of my favorite punk albums. This was a pretty simple premise, but it is something that helped me gain some momentum on Instagram, and I think something that caught people's eye in my portfolio. I think I ended up making about 10 or 12 of these, and I like how they all kind of have a cohesive feeling and go together as a series. What's cool too is the power of these personal passion projects. A lot of this stuff can just be made for fun and you put it on Instagram or whatever it may be, but some of these things show what you're capable of as a designer and have actually directly translated into me getting some client work later down the road. And you know, you don't do it for that, but that is a nice little plus on the side. Other main personal project that I worked on was a collage series called Skatin' Not Stirred. In addition to graphic design work, I'm a big fan of collage, and coming up with a good concept is usually the most fun yet challenging part of the process. Last summer, I found a bunch of old Thrasher magazines at this antique store, and also this little book called the New York Bartender's Guide. From there, I knew it would be cool to combine some of my favorite skaters with some of the cool drinks that were photographed in this small little book. The execution was super simple, and as one-off pieces, these are nothing special, but as an entire series, I felt like they went well together, and conceptually, they were very strong. I had a lot of fun working on these projects too. Another nice thing about these personal projects is it helps you with the decision fatigue of thinking of what you want to work on every day. Sometimes if you want to work on personal projects just for yourself or to post online, the hardest part can be coming up with a good idea just from scratch and writing your own copy and have nothing to base it off of. But when you do projects that you're working on in a series, or you're basing, you know, posters off music or albums that already exist, or movies or things that kind of already exist in the world, it helps you have ideas for the copy and inspiration. And it also is just easier, you know, every time you go down to work, you know, oh, I'm just working on another poster in this kind of style, rather than coming up with an entirely new thing and reinventing the wheel each time you sit down at your desk. But yeah, overall, the Skatin' Not Stirred series was super fun to work on, and it was rewarding to work on an entire series in just an analog state. So those are some of my personal projects, and I encourage each and every one of you to create some of your own. And you don't have to worry about the client, the social media algorithm, or any other kind of outside expectations. Just create stuff for yourself. Let me know in the comments what kind of projects you're working on, or if after watching this video you have any new ideas. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more, and if you want to see a longer process of one of the Blues Legends posters I designed, you can check out this video here. That's it for now, and I'll see you next time. Peace.